You're listening to episode 56 of A Whole New You podcast. On today's show, I'm interviewing Catharine Arnston about the benefits of spirulina and chlorella. She discusses how these amazing superfoods help with everything from energy to detoxification, and they provide an enormous array of vitamins and nutrients as well. Catharine's energy and enthusiasm are contagious, and I know you'll enjoy listening to the episode and will learn a lot as well. Catharine is also offering our listeners 20% off any purchases of products from ENERGYbits.com using coupon code NEWYOU. So you too can benefit from these superfood supplements. See the show notes for clickable links to these powerful products. Welcome to A Whole New You podcast. I'm your co-host, Kim Maravich. I'm a registered nurse and author of the book 360 Health. I'm joined by my dear friend, Lori Biddle, a health and wellness coach certified through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. Our show exists to inspire and empower women to take charge of their health with weekly tips and conversation about self-care, mindset, nutrition, fitness, and clean living. Please keep in mind that the material provided in this podcast is intended as general information only and should not be used as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. We're thrilled to have you here. Let's get to the show. Before we get to the show, I'd like to read a 5-star review that we received through iTunes. This is from Justine Clark Wellness, and it's titled Fun and Educational. Kim is so much fun. It was an honor being a guest on A Whole New You. I love how their podcast has a plethora of information delivered in a fun, digestible way. Justine, thanks for taking the time to write this review for us. Justine was a guest back in episode 37, and she was talking about finding food freedom with thyroid disease. So you can go back and check that out if you haven't heard it already. Reviews and subscribers help boost our rankings in iTunes, and they help people find our show who might not already know about it. So if you are listening right now, why don't you pause the show and head over to iTunes? There's a clickable link in the show notes. You can subscribe there and also leave us a rating and review. If you do, we'll be sure to read your review on a future episode. Now, let's get to the show. Welcome back, everybody. Today, I am pleased to have Catharine Arnston joining me on the podcast. Catharine has a 30-year career as an international attache for the Canadian and British governments, publisher of an international magazine, and founder of 3 startups. But in 2009, when her younger sister was diagnosed with breast cancer and advised by her oncologist to change her diet to an alkaline one because it would help her heal, Catharine put her career on hold to help her sister. In the process, she discovered algae, the most alkaline, nutrient-dense plant in the whole world that no one seemed to know about. Catharine knew algae would be a game changer for the world if she could just help Americans understand it. And ENERGYbits was born. Catharine, welcome to the show. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Yes, my child, ENERGYbits. It's actually the child of Mother Nature. I'm just her spokesperson.
Yes, I love it. And I have to tell you, I first heard you on Dr. Josh Hant's Lifestyle Locker Room podcast.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. He's been a guest on our podcast and I on his. So I remember listening to your podcast while I was at the playground with my boys and thinking, wow, I'm so tired and I don't have the energy to run around. And here you were on this podcast talking about all of the energy that you could get from taking spirulina. And so it really piqued my interest. And then you went on to talk about the chlorella and the detoxification, which we're going to get into today. So yes, I am, it really, that podcast started my interest in spirulina and chlorella right then and there. So you
fantastic.
You've made quite a difference in my life and others, many others as well. So we're so.
Oh, well, more to come.
Yeah, right.
I tell people algae is like your best friend. It'll never let you down and it gets better every day. So I've been 10 years working with algae and it's still every day I learn something new. It's like, are you kidding? You do that too?
Yes. Yeah. I can't wait to get into all the ins and outs of things that go along with taking algae of various forms. But before we get to that, can you just tell us a little bit more about yourself and the backstory of why ENERGYbits was created?
Yeah, well, like as you had mentioned, I'd been sort of plodding along with a business career, and had no background in nutrition at all. And then my sister developed breast cancer. She lives in Canada, and thank God her oncologist told her about this alkaline diet, because I knew nothing about it, and so I obviously wanted to help her since I love her so much. And in the process of helping her and discovering what the alkaline foods should be, which are basically plant-based because of the phytonutrients and the chlorophyll, which help build your immune system. She did go through chemo. She did change her diet. She completely healed. 10 years later, she's still cancer-free. But I started reading about alkaline and plant-based diets. Now, this was 10 years ago, and nobody was talking about plant-based diets then. Of course, it's all the rage now. And so I thought, man, this is really powerful stuff. Somebody needs to tell the world about it. So I thought, well, I have no background. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I just felt this compulsion and this soul mission that it was my responsibility, now that I knew about it, to do something about it. So I did give up my career. I went back to school to study. I didn't have time to get a dietitian's degree, so I got a 1-year health coaching certificate from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And then I taught nutrition for a year for free. I went into corporations and hospitals, anybody who would let me in, trying to teach their employees how to eat more greens. And everybody basically knew they needed more greens, but I learned a very important lesson, which was knowing what you need to do and doing it are completely different things. And it turned out that everybody knew they needed more greens, but it was too much work, or they didn't like the flavor, or their kids wouldn't eat them, or their husbands wouldn't eat them. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to try to help people be healthy and they aren't going to eat greens on their own, I got to find something that's fast, easy, and maybe doesn't even taste green, that will give them what they need, because the Centers for Disease Control say that 80% of our chronic illnesses can be prevented with proper nutrition and lifestyle changes. And so that includes breast cancer, heart disease, diabetes, everything. And I thought if I can get people to get what they need for their bodies, we can stop this. So I just started researching things again, and I had found the algae for my sister, but I hadn't paid much attention to it because it was like just one of 20 or 30 things I'd found for her. But as I started digging into the science of algae and found it had been used for 50 years in Asia, it's a multi-billion-dollar crop. It's not a supplement. It's a food crop. It's no different than kale or broccoli. It's the most studied food in the world. There's over 100,000 scientific studies documenting all the things that algae does for people. And it's endorsed by United Nations as the answer to world hunger. NASA feeds it to the astronauts. I mean, this stuff, algae is a nutritional rock star. And the only trouble is that in America, nobody really knew about it. And that was because it's never been explained properly. The quality's been poor. The branding's been poor. So I thought, okay, I've now found my mission in life, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life bringing algae to America. And that was 9 years ago. And I'm now 10 years in, and I can't believe I'm America's algae gal, as I call myself. And but I'm so proud and honored to be educating people about this, because it's fast, it's simple, easy, clean, toxin-free, pure, nutrient-dense, everything that you could possibly want, and it's available. And I just want people to understand what it does and how it works. And it's amazing.
Yeah, it certainly is. And to have that many studies too. So this is not something that's fad, a fad part of a diet. And like you said, it is not a supplement. It is actual food. You can swallow it as like a pill, because you do create them
if you choose.
If you choose, but it is a food. So I think that's really fascinating. All of the science that goes, into the research of algae.
Well, I speak at a lot of wellness and nutrition conferences, but I was recently invited to speak at an algae conference. Now, this is a conference attended by scientists and the companies that are actually growing algae, and so they want to learn how to communicate the benefits of algae to consumers. So in the room, I said, okay, how many in the room are scientists? And every single arm went up. And this is the problem with algae. All this knowledge about algae and what it does for you has remained in the scientific community, because scientists like to talk to other scientists. They don't want to, they don't know how to dumb down their research. They like to talk acronyms and swap, chemical lab tests. And so it took someone like me who knew nothing about algae to go, but I have a science scientific minds to be able to read all these. I've gone through thousands and thousands and thousands of these studies, and to pull out the nuggets and try to rewrite them in a way that they're consumer friendly. So I've tried to take the mystery out of algae so that people will understand that, it's just like kale on steroids. It's just like 1,000 times better than kale. And I've found ways to help inform people about what exactly algae is. I can walk you through some of that now if you'd like.
Yes, I would love that. And I think that is a gift that you're able to do, because I think, anybody can kind of go onto PubMed and read studies, but they're so confusing sometimes. So you do have a gift of explaining, all of the benefits in layman's terms, as you mentioned. So,
well, after 10 years, I hope I can do something right.
Right, exactly.
And I truly enjoy educating people. It's like, oh my God, seriously? It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So we did mention that there are two main types of algae in your products. So could you just talk about what those two are and highlight the benefits of each one?
Sure.
Okay,
well, and I'll step back a little bit so I can help people understand what exactly algae is. Algae is a food, is a type of food. So like we have vegetables and fruit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, well, algae is another food category. And just like let's take fruit. Just like in fruit, you have different types of fruits. You have apples and bananas. Within algae, you have two main types. One is seaweed, and the other is microalgae. And then if we keep using the fruit analogy, within fruits, you might have, within apples, let's say, you might have delicious and Granny Smith, so different types. So within microalgae, you have different types, and one is blue-green and one is green. And the two algae that we sell, one of them is a blue-green algae. It's called spirulina, and one of them is a green algae called chlorella. Now, I mention this because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of strains of blue, green, and green algae. 99.9% of them are grown wild in the ocean or lakes or ponds or swimming pools or aquariums, and those are all poisonous because algae will absorb whatever's in the water. So if it's growing in toxic water, of course it's going to be toxic. Spirulina and chlorella are the two algae that are grown as agricultural crops, and so they're harvested very carefully. So that's why if you read anything on the internet about blue-green algae being toxic, yes, if it was grown wild, but not the spirulina or chlorella that is harvested as a food crop. Now, we take particular pride in our algae, and I take particular pride in this because I went to extreme lengths to ensure ours was cleaner, purer, safer than anything else in the market. So, for example, we grow ours in triple filtered spring mountain water, again, because the algae absorbs whatever's in the water. So you've got to have really clean water, and we grow ours outdoors in Taiwan, which is highly regarded worldwide as having the highest standards for growing algae. I tell people, because you aren't familiar with algae, you think, oh, it's something like just some little tiny crop. Well, no, it's not. It's almost as big as the beef industry is in Asia. It's just, nobody's familiar with it. So I'm Canadian, and in Western Canada, we grow up seeing trucks drive by with big logs on the back, so we're quite familiar with the logging and the paper industry. And then I live now in Boston, and Dunkin' Donuts is based here, and we see trucks driving by with Dunkin' Donuts freights. But in Asia, it's quite normal to see trucks pulling seaweed and algae because it's a main part of their food supply there. So algae isn't weird. It's just and it's not new. It's just new to us here in America. Yeah. So let's go back to the two types. So I mentioned there's two main types, blue, green, and green. So blue, green, that's the spirulina. And the reason why it's called a blue-green algae is because there are two pigments in there. One is chlorophyll, which is green. It makes plants green. And the other pigment is called phycocyanin, which has other healing properties. But the most cool thing about spirulina is that it gives you energy mentally and physically, and it satisfies your hunger. Now, both of them are grown organically, both are non-GMO, both are ketogenic, both are vegan. They both only have 1 calorie. They're not processed. So this is just something we grow in water, press the water out of it, and into these little tablets, and that's it. There's nothing else in it. So it's safe, it's clean. We do third-party lab tests, so there's no toxins. But the spirulina, in the morning, if you have a handful or even 3 or 4 with your water or tea or whatever, it's a fast, easy way to get you started for your day. It gives you energy mentally and physically. It staves off hunger. A lot of people use it for intermittent fasting. So how does it give you energy? Well, because I used to speak at a lot of running conferences and triathlon conferences, and they would say, well, hey, it's only got 1 calorie. How can possibly 1 calorie give me energy? Well, you have to understand that a calorie is not the same in all food groups. So in this case, the energy is coming from a number of sources. Number one is spirulina has all the B vitamins. B vitamins are what give you energy because they convert glucose into energy. Spirulina has the highest concentration of protein in the world, 64% protein, and which is 3 times the amount that you would find in steak. And not only is it a complete protein, so it has 18 of the 20 aminos, all of the protein is already in amino acid form. Normally when you eat animal protein, your body has to go through a process to break down the animal protein into amino acids so that it can be absorbed and used. But in this case, your body doesn't have to do anything because the protein's already in amino acids. So it's like getting, and 15% of your energy is used up with digestion. So now, because it doesn't have to digest anything, you're getting like 15% more energy back into your, it's almost like a bank account of energy. The other cool thing about spirulina is it's technically a bacteria. And what that means is it has no cellulose wall. So when you eat algae, like as I do, I chew mine, or even if you swallow it, it gets into your bloodstream almost instantly. So all of the aminos, all those B vitamins, they are in your bloodstream within seconds if you chew it, and delivers not a rush of energy like you would get from sugar or coffee. It's just a very steady energy. Because all that, now those amino acids are being converted by the B vitamins into energy. Spirulina also has an extraordinarily high amount of iron. Iron is what carries oxygen in your blood. And so that gives your mind and your muscles and your body the energy that it needs to do whatever you're doing. It also is what's called a nitric oxide based algae. So nitric oxide has the effect of relaxing smooth muscles. Your blood vessels are what's called a smooth muscle. And so when they relax, they effectively open up. And this allows more of the nutrients from the spirulina and the oxygen to get into your brain, into your body to do what it needs to do. It also has a very high amount of essential fatty acids, including omega-3 and something called GLA, which is technically omega-6, but because it's unprocessed, behaves like an omega-3. And these feed your brain and help you with your thinking. The cool thing when we work with athletes is they're anticipating the energy, but they never anticipate the focus and the improved mental acuity that they get from the spirulina. And part of that's from the essential fatty acids and also something a lot of the other minerals. So it's this wonderful cocktail of minerals and vitamins. There's 40 in total that have been created by Mother Nature. We grow it, as I said, in clean, pure water, but it's a perfect marriage for what your body needs nutritionally. In fact, I'm the one, I was once reading some research about the amino acids and the nutrient profile of mother's breast milk, and I thought, gosh, that looks awfully familiar. And so I flipped back to the nutrient profile of spirulina, and they're virtually identical, the same aminos in the same proportions.
That's
and that made sense to me because in Asia, if the babies can't digest mother's milk and they've tried everything to keep them alive, they give them spirulina or chlorella in water, and that seems to be what keeps them alive. And now I understand why. It's because the nutrient profile is, especially spirulina, is almost identical to breast milk. So, and because it's so diverse in the nutrients and the blend of nutrients, it's mother's milk and spirulina are literally the 2 foods that you could live on forever. You may not want to, but you could. So it's very exciting to introduce spirulina to people who are fatigued because it just gives you what you need from a nutritional perspective. No stimulants, nothing artificial, zero. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So we call ours ENERGYbits because it gives you energy. And we also have a version. We found women weren't attracted to the blue packaging, and because I started this because my sister. So women's health is so important to me. So when we found women weren't attracted to the blue packaging or the name, and my girlfriend said, you got to give it a cute name and make it pink. So we created BEAUTYbits, which is identical to ENERGYbits, except we market it more to the spa community and beauty world because it does help with your skin and hair health because of the high protein, the antioxidants, the omega-3, and it keeps your skin clearer. And I'm a testament to it because I look younger now than I did 10 years ago.
You are.
I credit the algae for doing that.
You're beautiful. We did get to see each other at the beginning.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I'm not so sure about that, but anyways, it does certainly help. So that's spirulina.
Yes.
Technically a bacteria, gives you energy, highest concentration of protein in the world. Then the other algae is chlorella. And because people have a hard time saying that, we call ours RECOVERYbits, because basically chlorella is a health and wellness algae. So it helps you recover your health. And while spirulina has the highest concentration of protein in the world, chlorella has the highest concentration of chlorophyll in the world. Now, chlorophyll is again a pigment. It's the green pigment in plants, and that's, when your mothers always tell you to eat greens, it's primarily because of the chlorophyll, which has all this cleansing capabilities. And people always say, oh, well, greens and smoothies are very cleansing. And I thought, what exactly does cleansing mean? Well, I can tell you what it means. Through some research and some experiments I did, it turns out that chlorophyll is what's a fat-based pigment. And the reason why that's important relates to this cleansing issue. So your health depends on healthy cells, healthy mitochondria, healthy cell walls, because if your cell walls aren't healthy, then nutrients can't get in and toxins can't get out, and that damages your mitochondria and causes all sorts of cellular issues. So chlorophyll, because it's a fat-based pigment, it cleans the cell walls. You need healthy fats for your cell walls. And the analogy I make is it's sort of like a window washer. When your windows are dirty, you can't see out and sunlight can't get in. So chlorophyll helps clean your cell walls so that nutrients can get in and toxins can get out. And that's the benefit of chlorophyll. Now, you can't get anything with more chlorophyll than chlorella. It has 25 times more than chlorophyll than even liquid chlorophyll. It has 1,000 times more chlorophyll than cabbage. So it is off the charts in terms of chlorophyll. And if that wasn't enough, chlorella also helps in so many other ways. One is that it has the hardest cellulose wall in the plant kingdom, and that hard cell wall attaches to toxins, heavy metals. So it pulls out anything: lead, mercury, radiation, alcohol, lactic acid. Athletes use it after a workout because it pulls out lactic acid. We have, if you have any wine with dinner, have some of this afterwards, and it'll pull the alcohol because it pulls out the toxins that your body converts the alcohol into. So it has been used by dentists for decades for pulling out mercury. We work with people who are getting chemotherapy treatments because it pulls out the excess chemotherapy so that you're not as nauseous. There's lead in our water. There's toxins everywhere. Our bodies are full of toxins. And this is what's leading to some illnesses, many, many illnesses. So I encourage people to take chlorella every day because I say it's like giving your body a shower from the inside. There's 80,000 chemicals have been released into our world since World War II, and our immune systems weren't built to sustain that toxic load, so you've got to get rid of them. And so this is a really healthy, natural way to get rid of them. And the other great thing is while you're using chlorella to do the cleansing and get rid of the toxins, you're also getting 40 other vitamins and minerals. You're getting, it has your daily requirement of vitamin K2, which moves calcium out of soft tissue like blood vessels and into your bones, so it helps prevent osteoporosis or fractures. It gives you all the other vitamins, vitamin A, it has all the B vitamins, doesn't give you energy, but still has all these crazy, amazing minerals and vitamins so that you are keeping your body alkaline at the right pH levels that it should be. It has the highest concentration of RNA and DNA in the world. As you get older, this gets damaged, and that contributes to aging. It also has something called chlorella growth factor, which speeds up the growth of your cells, so that helps you prevent aging. So it's this amazing combination of nutrients that fight illness, disease, bring back health, removes toxins, and it does it all naturally. So it's a great thing to take any time of day. You can take either of them any time of day, together or alone, instead of food, with food. But certainly we encourage you to take them at nighttime, because your body goes through a detox when you're sleeping. And so this would facilitate the detox. By the way, chlorella has the highest amount of tryptophan in the world, and tryptophan is the precursor to melatonin, which does help you sleep. Now, it won't make you sleepy, but it will just help calm your brain so that you can fall into a sleep state a little easier. Now, chlorella, the benefit of chlorella is, well, not in addition to, all these wonderful health benefits, is it actually tastes pretty good. Spirulina, a lot of people have a hard time with that flavor because it's very earthy and very chewy because of the high protein and the high essential fatty acids. But chlorella tastes more like a sunflower seed or a soy nut. And I love it with a little bit of sea salt, or eaten with macadamia nuts or almonds. And we're going to do a trail mix, we hope, next year with the chlorella and the macadamia nuts. And you can mix it with, banana chips, fruit chips, anything. Put it on your salad, because it really is quite tasty when you add it to something. Spirulina, again, not an easy flavor for most people, so no shame in swallowing those, but they're both chewable. I eat mine, I chew mine all the time, but the spirulina will stick to your teeth a teeny bit, the chlorella does not. But they are completely different algae and do completely different things in your body.
That's just amazing. And they're tiny too, so it's not hard to swallow the
They are very tiny.
Yeah.
And we, as I said, so RECOVERYbits is our chlorella, and we sell them in large bags on our website, ENERGYbits.com. And inside each bag, we include a little empty travel tin, so that you can fill it up and pop it in your handbag or your car or your briefcase, and always you can get about 60 of the tablets in a little tin. And so it's maybe a day or two serving, or you can snack on them throughout the day. I mean, I eat the chlorella all day long. I don't even want to tell you how many of those things I have all day. They're my favorite snack food. But you can also buy them in single servings from doctors and nutritionists. We sell through chiropractors, functional medicine, spas, anywhere people are being given some extra care, and you can buy them in the single servings, or Amazon. We do sell them in single servings on Amazon for $4 each. So if you ever want to try them first before coming to our website to buy them, and we have a discount code for your listeners, we'll share at the end of the at the call. Come back to the website and use the discount code, and you'll get 20% off. But yeah, they're absolutely amazing, and there's so much science that exists to support absolutely everything that I can share with you about the benefits.
Absolutely. In addition to the podcast that I heard you on, one of the reasons I looked into chlorella in the first place is because I do have some of those old dental amalgams, the mercury amalgams in my mouth. And you hear from so many people that you need to have them removed, but if it's not in the budget, it's like, what should you do?
Yeah,
and so that's when I discovered chlorella, and I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense, that could help with detoxification of so many things in addition to that mercury. So well,
it's unfortunate that in the era that we live in, we are surrounded, and whether it's the radiation left over from Fukushima, or just toxins in the air from your clothing, your carpets, foods being irradiated. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. And individually, maybe one or two may not be so difficult, but we're all exposed to about thousands a day. And so they accumulate. And just about the dental situation, I was at my health club, and I started chatting with a woman. Turns out she's a doctor, and I said, "Oh, you need chlorella for your patients when you remove those amalgams." And she said, "Well, what about me?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I never thought about it," because the dentists do protect themselves with, the jackets, even from the X-rays and stuff. But there's still some mercury fumes that they're going to be inhaling. It's inevitable. And so, the entire dental community should be taking chlorella every single day. Everybody should be taking Chlorella every single day. And the great thing about both of these, Spirulina Chlorella, because they are so nutrient dense, they can be a replacement for so many vitamins. You can
That was
eliminate
my
your
next
multivitamins.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're getting it from food, because
yeah.
a lot of people don't realize most vitamins are made from extracts from, even if they're extracts from food, they're still extracts, so they're processed. And as soon as you process something, you're using high heat, and so it changes the nutrient characteristics and into ones that your body can't recognize. And this is why the RDAs are so high in your vitamins, is because even the vitamin companies know that you're only going to absorb about 5%, because vitamins don't exist in a vacuum. They don't exist in isolation like they do in vitamins.
Right.
And so the way I describe it to my young millennials, I say, well, it's like going to work with just your shoes on. Like, where's the rest of the stuff? So when you get like ascorbic acid as your vitamin C, and vitamin C actually has 200 components to it. So where's the rest of it? Yeah. So when you get your nutrients from food that have all these other, factors and cofactors and enzymes and coenzymes, your body goes, oh yeah, I know what that is. I know what to do with that. So there's a synergistic effect where you absorb everything and everything works better. It's the difference between hearing a soloist and an orchestra. Food is the orchestra. Yeah. So when you get your vitamins from food like algae, you're getting more than you even imagine, even though the numbers are smaller. So this could be a replacement for your multivitamin, for CoQ10, because it has so many great other attributes for your brain health. It replaces all calcium, magnesium, potassium, all your electrolytes. I will say it does not replace vitamin C, so you still need vitamin C. And so what I do is every morning I start my day with squeezes of lemon juice in my water. But and for the spirulina, because it fills up your hunger or satisfies your hunger and gives you energy, it's also a replacement for snacks. It can replace your bars. If you have kids, if they want to go out to play soccer or something, give them a 5 or 6 depending on their age tablets of spirulina, and that will give them energy to play. They don't need any of those sugary bars that will shoot up their insulin and give them a crash afterwards. The tablets are completely safe for newborns, any age, pets. We say give children 1 or half of one per their age. So if they're 4, give them either 2 to 4 tablets a day. If they're 6, give them 3 or 6. There's no real upper limit, quite honestly, because it's just like eating a salad. You can't have too much salad. Yeah. But so the spirulina can replace snacks. It can replace fuel bars. It can replace vitamins. The chlorella can replace a lot of things that you might be taking for your health. It's the equivalent of doing cleansing, juice cleansing, detoxing. If you take chlorella every day, I almost can promise you that your children will not have a cold all year round. And we have mothers who swear by it. We work with Olympic athletes and teams who travel together. And when one team member gets a cold, that travels through the entire team, because they're on a bus together or they're on bunking together. But this helps prevent that. So it's pretty amazing stuff. And it's all natural, not a drop of sugar, caffeine, chemicals, not even any processing. It's a raw food.
Right. And you had mentioned before omega-3. So can you replace your omega-3 like fish oil with?
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Just with the spirulina, there's very little in the chlorella. Okay. So, I tell people, where do you think, well, there's 2 issues going on here. People are getting most of their omega-3 from fish oil. A couple of issues with fish oil. 90% of it goes rancid after about 30 days. So here you're taking fish oil to reduce inflammation, and you're going to contribute to inflammation because it's unhealthy. And also we're seeing complete dead zones in the ocean because the fish are being overfished for their fish oil. And I remind people, well, where do you think the fish get their omega-3 from? They get it from algae. They just consolidate the omega-3 that's in the algae in their bodies. And so just go to the source. Algae is a sustainable source of omega-3. It will never go rancid. It's always natural. It's in smaller quantities, but it's more effective because it's coming from food. And there's also other types of essential fatty acids, like one called GLA, which stands for gamma-linolenic acid. The only place that has more GLA than spirulina is mother's breast milk. And the reason why it's such high concentration in breast milk is because it helps contribute to the baby's brain development, which doubles or triples in size within the first year or two of birth. So if it's helping a baby's brain develop, it's going to help our brains as well. And your brain is 60% fat, so it needs healthy fats. So absolutely, the spirulina is a replacement for your omega-3 and a sustainable one at that. So, and safer, much safer, no toxins whatsoever. And because we sell our products through chiropractors and functional medicine and other practitioners, we do third-party lab tests that we send to them to prove that there are no toxins, there are no metals. We also do an extra set of tests to prove there are no neurotoxins, BMAA in particular. So that's why they endorse our products, because of the nutrient density and the safety. So we're very proud that we can provide this to people and know that it's absolutely safe for any age group.
Well, you've definitely sold me, and I think that our listeners as well. It just, all of the benefits and the fact that you can eliminate some of these probably like other supplements, that people may have been taking, and take these that are really food-based. And as you said, have the coenzymes, the cofactors that we need to be able to absorb it too. So just to review, your products are, the Spirulina is ENERGYbits and BEAUTYbits. Is that
correct?
Right? Okay. And the Chlorella are the RECOVERYbits?
Yes. And just in case people can't buy one of each, we encourage you to buy them separately, just so you have more control, because you want more energy during the day or in the afternoon, and maybe you want to get rid of a little bit of wine after in the evening. So chlorella would be what you would have for that, or chlorella pulls out toxins or your lactic acid. You might want to take that at night. But if you can only buy one, we also offer one called VITALITYbits, which is 50% spirulina and 50% chlorella.
Nice.
So that's a blend. And we have a discount code. The code is NEWYOU, all one word, doesn't matter what's upper or lowercase, that when you get to the shopping cart, you'll see a coupon box. Just type in NEWYOU, and you'll always get 20% off whatever you're purchasing. One other little thing I'd like to mention. Now, we're not doctors, and so we're not allowed to make any medical claims, but we have had people tell us that after taking spirulina, they have been able to get off their depression medication. Wow. We've had people tell us after taking it for a while, they are able to get off their allergy medication. So there's a lot of, that we can help people get off of some of these medical or correct their medical conditions with food. Now again, I have to be cautious about what we say to people, but we've had lots of anecdotal evidence, and we've also had science showing that these things do happen in clinical trials. And so, there's no, parents have kids who had ADHD who are getting A+ postcard or report cards for the first time because their focus is improved. What is the price of that? Your health is all you've got, and when you lose it, then you're scrambling. So we just want to help people either regain their health or protect it, so that you can have be the best you, be the new you. Right?
That's right. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Catherine. This has
You're
been
very welcome.
Just an amazing wealth of information. So could you just tell us one more time, just your website, and if you have any social media where people can follow you?
Yes.
Okay.
So the website is www.energybits.com. And we're very active on social. Our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter are all the same. It's at ENERGYbits. We do also have a Instagram handle for BEAUTYbits, which is BEAUTYbits. So we always promote lots of good specials on there, so on our Instagram and our Facebook. So, be sure to follow us there and come and visit us. But as I said, algae is the most remarkable food that nobody seems to know about here, but it's growing. And even the White House passed the first Algae Agricultural Act this year to encourage farmers to grow it here. So you're going to see a lot more about algae, and we're excited about it. So come and visit us, learn about it now, and you'll never regret it. I promise you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for being here.
You're very welcome.
We'll put a link to the website and social media, and also the discount code that you so kindly provided. That'll all be in the show notes. So thanks again for joining us today.
All right. Thanks, Kim. All right. Take care. You too.
That's it for today. For more from Kim, you can go to kimmaravich.com. For more from Lori, go to simplympoweredllc.com. We're always open to listener questions or suggestions for the show. You can email those to contact@awholenewyouPodcast.com. We'd also love it if you joined our Facebook community and followed us on Instagram. Just search for A Whole New You Podcast. And lastly, if you'd be so kind as to leave us a rating and review in iTunes, we would really appreciate that so more people can find our show and join our community. We'll see you next week.